Okay. Yeah, keep the sticks rolling. Hey, bitch, I be hunt me and money got tied. She come in steps, but I'm never surprised. I don't know, trust him, they all go for size.
Hello there. It's me, Meech ATW of the Back Three. I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Roland Kesler of FantasyGo. If you guys are wondering what FantasyGo is, I'm going to actually leave it to the man right here to explain what this idea and this concept of FantasyGo is. So, Roland, my bro, can you just tell the listeners and the watchers what FantasyGo is?
Sure thing. Thanks for having me. Good to join the back three this week. So, as Siva mentioned, I'm from a company called FantasyGo. We basically trying to revolutionize fantasy sports in South Africa. We know the current FPL game is super popular, but there are a few sort of downsides to the game that we're trying to improve and make a bit more fun. And I can get into those details as well.
Okay, so obviously as we chat, we will get into that, Roland. So a question for my co-host Kets, right? Or Keto, you might know him as. He was trying to ask like the idea and the concept of your fantasy goal, right? How did it come
Yeah.
about? Like,
So we started the idea during lockdown. Basically, we were like starved of football, you remember? And then they announced that
yeah,
it
yeah.
was that Project Restart. So they were gonna start again the second half of the season after lockdown. And me and some friends, we were like really hyped, but we realized we didn't have a fantasy team that season. And so now this new season was starting. We were like really excited. Not new season, like the second half of the season was starting. And we were really excited, but we didn't have a fantasy team from like the first half. So we had the idea like it would be really nice if we could just play fantasy like week by week or not for the full season. So that's how the idea started for Fantasy Go. Obviously, normal Fantasy Premier League, you have to kind of play for 9 months. You pick your team at the start of the season, and then you carry on that team for the whole 38 weeks. So with Fantasy Go, you can kind of choose when you want to play. You can play one weekend and not play the next, and you just pick your team for the weekends that you want to play. So yeah, that's kind of how it came about.
Lovely, bro. So yeah, what you're alluding to basically is you're saying that you can have weekly leagues and you can still keep the original, I guess, cultured 38 games season, 9 months league, right? For
Yeah,
fantasy.
exactly. So on Fantasy
Can you
Go,
hear me?
basically, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Yeah, so on Fantasy Go, you can basically enter a game week tournament. You pick your 11 players just for that game week. And the scoring and the prices will be very familiar to people who currently play Fantasy Premier League. It's very similar. And yeah, basically at the end of that week, there's a pool that's distributed. It costs a bit of money to play. Sometimes it's 10 Rand, sometimes it's 25 Rand. And then that pool is then distributed between the top 3 players at the end of the week. We also give money back, your stake back to the people who finish from 4th to 20th. So for example, this week, currently there's, as I'm recording this, there's exactly 100 people that have entered the Game Week 2 contest. And the pool at the moment for the Game Week 2 contest is 11,200 Rand. And that's split between first, second, and third. And every time someone enters the league, the pool amount goes up. So that's kind of the model that we're working on.
All right, bro. So I like the fact that you explained that quite concisely so people can get an idea of that. But also, if it doesn't make sense, we're also gonna share your links, and to your
Cool,
site,
cool,
which will probably explain it a bit better, yeah. So
cool.
a bit more of a serious question. This is from Louis, Coach Louis Luando. He was asking about like the 5-year plan, but I think at the
Yeah,
start you were saying that you're basically making a fantasy universe now. So
yeah,
I'm guessing it might not only be football, right? From what just based on
correct.
what you said just now.
Correct. So we're starting off with just Premier League. Next month we'll have Champions League, and fingers crossed, if everything goes right, we'll have rugby as well for the World Cup. That kicks off in like
Hmm.
3 and a bit weeks. Following that, I think in October, around then, is the Cricket World Cup. So we're going to have fantasy cricket as well. And then, yeah, the world is our oyster. You can kind of make a fantasy game out of anything. So we're thinking of fantasy NBA, probably next year, fantasy F1, that kind of thing. So, yeah, like you said, we're trying to create this fantasy universe, if you want to call it that. So it won't just be limited to soccer or football. But for now, that's the focus.
I'd Roland, I'd Roland. So, I know we chat on a personal level, you know. So I just want to get to the fun side of things now, because we
Okay,
also
cool.
wanted to just mention that we will also have a chat, just a football chat. So I just want to confirm, Roland, you are saying, right? I think you did like banter and a bit of seriousness. You said Arsenal are winning the league, or you
No, no,
weren't
no, no,
saying
no.
that?
No, 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 no. I just want to tell the listeners, this guy's ruthless. This guy's banter is ruthless. He doesn't stop. But no, I'm saying Arsenal second. I'm saying Arsenal second.
Okay, Arsenal second, and then obviously it'll be. I think everyone's pick is Man City still. So you're saying Man City, right?
Man
So can you
City
just
first.
run us through your top six, bro? Because yeah,
Okay, yeah. I mean, so Man City first. Then I'm going Arsenal second. I think United third. Liverpool fourth. Chelsea fifth, and Newcastle sixth.
okay, that's a solid top six. No one can really cry about that unless you're
Yeah,
out of that top six. So bro, what did you also make of the gaming one? Like any surprise? Because you also now you're looking at it from a fantasy perspective, right?
yeah.
So you might know the tricks of the trade now. But any surprises, bro, that you saw from the weekend? Surprise players as well, you know?
Yeah, not really a massive surprise this one, but it's definitely caught the attention. Newcastle's 5-1 win over Villa. That's a statement win to start the season.
Hmm.
I think everyone knows Newcastle are good from last season, but some people, and myself included, I won't lie, thought maybe it's a one season thing, maybe they overperformed last season, but to beat Villa 5-1 on the first game of the season shows maybe they actually here to stay. So that was quite notable.
Bit of a
And
statement.
yeah, statement win. I think that was the big standout for me in Game Week 1. And
Okay,
then
now
in
going
terms of
into game week two, I'm gonna yeah.
sorry, I just want to say in terms of players, just from like a fantasy perspective, one of the players that some people picked in Fantasy Go that was kind of a differential that not everyone knew about was Diaby from Aston Villa. He's the new Villa signing. They signed him, I think, from Leverkusen. Um, yes, Villa lost badly, but he's a midfielder in the game, only 6.5, and it looks like he's going to play like just behind Ollie Watkins. So if you're looking for like a different pick, whether it's Fantasy Go or normal FPL, I think that's a decent pick, quite affordable as well, DRB from Villa.
Yeah, okay, just another fantasy question, bro. In terms of your pricing, your player
Yeah.
pricing, right? Is it like I don't, is it like the traditional one, or is it like, do you have like a bit of a, you know, it's not too
So it,
expensive, not too
yeah,
cheap type
yeah.
of players as well? Yeah.
In the first week that we played, we kind of inflated the prices a bit. Um, and then the feedback we got was that it was actually a little bit too difficult. You couldn't really afford Haaland. So we took the feedback on board, and now we've made the prices the same as normal FPL prices, exactly the same. The only difference is that instead of a budget of 100, you get a budget of 80. And the reason for that is because in normal FPL, you have to pick 15
Okay.
players because you got your 4 subs. So because you don't have subs in Fantasy Go, we make the budget a little bit less than 100. But the prices themselves are the same.
All right, all right. So let's also get into your game week two predictions, so that you
Okay,
might
cool.
help our watchers and listeners. So I'll run through the games and you'll give you a score. So we'll start with Friday, right? So Friday it's Nottingham and Sheffield. What you got for that one, bro?
Nottingham looked pretty good against us, I won't lie. And I think Sheffield failed to score against Palace. So I'm going to go Nottingham at home. I'm going to say 2-0 to Nottingham.
2-0 to Nottingham. Yeah, I can see the number 9 scoring again there. And then we've got Poole versus Bournemouth.
Let me just see what Bournemouth did. They drew at West Ham. I think Anfield, first game at Anfield this season. Let's go again 2-0 actually.
Okay, so you're going 2-0. And
Yeah.
then we will go for Wolves Brighton at Molineux. We
Wolves,
struggled
Brighton.
against the Man United.
Yeah, I don't know. Wolves are a tricky one. I thought United were gonna like wipe the floor with them. Then again, Brighton did look really good in the first week. So maybe let's go, because Brighton are playing away, I'll go 1-1.
You go 1-1. And then it's Fulham Brentford at Craven Cottage.
I think Fulham will pull a surprise there. I'm gonna go 1-0 Fulham.
Yeah, they look quite good. They look quite good. Even if they lose Mitrovic, I think they'll still do well.
Yeah.
And then okay, I'm gonna leave the big games for now, and then let's go to Sunday, Aston Villa Everton.
I think Everton are struggling. They just don't have anyone who can finish. So I'm gonna go 2-0 Villa.
Okay, 2-0 Villa. Yeah, I think Villa will come back. I mean, especially after they were embarrassed. And then we have Chelsea West Ham at the London Stadium.
I think Chelsea will take it. I think I'm gonna go with a big win here. I'm gonna go 3-0 Chelsea.
Statement when you say. Okay, I would have mentioned Luton and Burnley, but I don't know whether Luton they can't play at the home stadium, so I'm gonna leave that on for now.
Yeah.
So okay, let's go to the Arsenal Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park on Monday night.
Arsenal in midweek games, I don't trust them. So I'm worried about this. Away from home, Palace first home game of the season. My heart says Arsenal win 2-1. I know we're going to concede. There's no ways we keep a clean sheet. But my head says 1-1. So I don't know. Listeners can decide which one they want to choose.
Okay, who's going to be the starting keeper?
Ramsdale,
who's going to be the
for
starting
sure.
keeper? Is it going to be Ramsdale or Raya for this one?
Ramsdale.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, let's go to okay, so I think actually the biggest game is City and Newcastle. So let me ask you about United versus Spurs at London at the Spurnobau, White Hart Lane, the new White Hart Lane.
I think United have to take that. I know it's away, but I just don't rate Spurs at all. They're like, nah, I don't rate them. So I'm gonna go. Go 2-1 United.
All right, and then capping it off will be City versus Newcastle at the Etihad.
So City played in midweek. They played last night, so maybe that can have an effect. But you can't bet against them. So I'm gonna go 3-1 City.
Okay. So we'll cap it off there. This is Roland's Fantasy Go. We'd like to say thank you, Tim, as the back three, for giving us a moment or some time to just chat football with us and Fantasy Go. I'm 100% sure that our listeners and fans will also be subscribing and logging in and making teams on your site. It looks very cool and exciting. I'll be making a team as well, and I think my homies will be making a team as well. So yeah, any last words, Roland, or thoughts?
Yeah, firstly, thanks for the chat. I really appreciate it, showing love. If your listeners want to check us out, you can go to fantasygo.io or just Google FantasyGo. And yeah, I look forward to you guys playing, checking us out. There's lots of money to be won. Just one thing I'll add on FantasyGo as it compares to, we're in the gambling space, but with us, there's guaranteed winners. The pool has to be won. It's not like you bet on something and you may or may not win. Yes, one individual may not win, but we're guaranteeing that someone's going to win, which I think is a nice twist on the gambling thing.
Okay.
But yeah, thanks for having me, and yeah, I'll chat soon.
Bitch, I be laying on tongue, it's